Hi! Third-person games keep evolving year after year. In 2025 and 2026, developers are experimenting more boldly with genres, mechanics, and presentation, combining cinematic storytelling, deep combat systems, tactical decision-making, and unconventional ideas that go far beyond traditional action games. In this video, I've gathered the best third-person games that have already released in 2025 or are set to launch in 2026. Let's start with Nioh 3. The sequel keeps the familiar atmosphere and visual style of the previous game, but it completely flips the gameplay on its head. The new system revolves around two distinct styles, the samurai and the shinobi, and you can switch between them instantly. The samurai still relies on precise strikes, key control, and energy pulses, but now features a new weapon mastery mechanic that reduces stamina consumption and boosts attack power, making battles more aggressive and varied. The shinobi, on the other hand, is a whole different experience. The ninja style focuses on mobility, constant dodging, shurikens, and fireballs that recharge over time. Level design has also evolved. No more narrow corridors. Instead, you'll explore semi-open areas with verticality, double jumps, and stealth elements. Haste is a fast-paced action platformer with roguelike elements, where success depends entirely on speed and precision. You play as Zoe, a courier racing through fragments of a collapsing world, trying to deliver critical messages while destroying machines that drain energy from reality itself. Movement is the core mechanic. Falling builds up speed that must be carefully redirected on landing, while climbs and mistakes instantly slow you down. As a result, traversal itself becomes a high-skill, almost racing-like challenge. While Haste is often compared to roguelike speedruns, the game stands out for more than just raw momentum. NPC interactions, item merchants, and systems that let you modify your run add depth and variety to each attempt. A large selection of community-made maps and support for up to 8 players greatly increase replayability, turning every session into a unique race through crumbling worlds. Ninja Gaiden 4 marks the long-awaited return of the legendary action series, first announced back in 2025 and developed through a collaboration between Team Ninja and Platinum Games. The game continues the story after Ninja Gaiden 3, while introducing a new protagonist that brings a fresh perspective to the combat system. The setting shifts to a dark, demon-infested modern Tokyo, where players leap into relentless, high-intensity battles against new and deadly enemies. The gameplay preserves the series' trademark difficulty while introducing meaningful updates. Multiple combat styles, varied melee and ranged attacks, and fast, reactive combo systems push players to stay aggressive and adaptable. Every encounter is designed to reward precision, timing, and mastery of movement, reinforcing Ninja Gaiden's reputation as a demanding but deeply satisfying action experience. SpongeBob SquarePants, Titans of the Tide, is a colorful 3D platformer with strong adventure elements, inviting players to explore the familiar world of Bikini Bottom while battling ghostly threats and solving environmental puzzles. Players can freely switch between SpongeBob and Patrick, each offering unique abilities. SpongeBob excels at classic platforming, while Patrick can climb, dig, and use his body in creative ways to overcome obstacles. The game is packed with varied adventure mechanics, from epic boss fights against characters like the Flying Dutchman and King Neptune to exploring diverse locations such as Neptune's Palace and the snowy slopes of Mount Bikini. The ghost-themed storyline adds a slightly eerie twist to the otherwise lighthearted tone, while original voice acting from the show's cast helps preserve the charm and atmosphere of the animated series. FUMES is an intense third-person action game inspired by classic vehicular combat, focusing on high-speed battles between heavily armed vehicles. Players take control of fully customizable cars equipped with weapons and upgrades, racing across wastelands while facing waves of enemies in chaotic, on-the-move firefights. Vehicle customization goes far beyond visuals, as weapon choices, armor, and upgrades directly shape combat style, from long-range firepower to aggressive ramming and close-quarters collisions at full speed. The gameplay is built around constant momentum and non-stop action. Procedurally generated maps ensure that every run feels unpredictable, while the lack of loading screens keeps the experience fast and uninterrupted. Alongside standard enemy encounters, players will face massive boss vehicles, off-road challenges, and high-risk delivery missions through dangerous terrain, reinforcing the game's relentless, post-apocalyptic road war atmosphere. Fear the Timeloop is a psychological third-person survival horror game built around an endless time loop as its core mechanic. The protagonist, Sheriff James Cooper, wakes up mortally wounded in an abandoned hospital with only 15 minutes left to live, before dying and starting over again. Time here is not just a narrative device but an active gameplay system, forcing players to plan their actions, explore dark corridors, and make decisions that can reshape the next loop. Beyond its looping structure, the game emphasizes exploration, puzzle solving, and narrative depth. Interactions with characters, branching dialogue choices, and newly unlocked areas gradually expand with each cycle. The atmosphere leans heavily into psychological horror with light Metroidvania elements. Previously inaccessible paths and items require returning in later loops with new tools or abilities, turning repetition into steady progress. Cairn is a unique third-person climbing and survival simulator where every upward step is a calculated decision and every handhold demands attention. Players assume the role of an experienced climber attempting to conquer the mysterious Mount Kami, with gameplay built around physically precise climbing mechanics. Each limb must be placed manually, stamina carefully managed, and grip stability constantly monitored, because a single mistake can result in a fall that heavily impacts progress. Beyond climbing itself, Cairn incorporates survival elements. Players must manage the character's condition, rest at designated spots, prepare food, and maintain health between ascents. The interface is intentionally minimal, with fatigue and progress conveyed through animation, breathing, and physical behavior rather than HUD elements, deepening immersion. A separate expedition mode allows players to choose different climbing styles and even share their achievements with others. Lost Soul Aside. The story of Lost Soul Aside is worthy of a movie adaptation on its own. The project began as the ambitious work of a single developer, and after a viral trailer, it caught the attention of Sony. Eventually, a studio and budget followed, but the road to release was rough. An attempt to create an open world failed, wasting resources, and the game had to be rebuilt almost from scratch. The result is mixed. On one hand, there's a vibrant character design, stunning locations blending fantasy and sci-fi, an energetic soundtrack, and a fast-paced combat system with touches of platforming. All of this creates the sense that the project has both soul and ambition. At the same time, the flaws are obvious. Transitions between cutscenes and gameplay break immersion. The story feels generic, and constant cliches like saving a sister or fighting ultimate evil quickly lose impact. Overall, it's a project that shows tremendous effort and genuine dedication from its creators, but for now, it feels more like a first step than a fully realized hit. Silent Hill F. After years of silence, the revival of the iconic Silent Hill series has been one of the biggest events in the gaming industry, and Silent Hill F is a key part of that return. The project promises to transport us to an unsettling and unfamiliar Japan of the 1960s. It seems the foggy American town is giving way to a world where Japanese folklore, mystical rituals, and the franchise's signature psychological horror are intertwined. The atmosphere, filled with silence, the anticipation of something terrible, and a crushing sense of despair, is meant to be the core of the gameplay. The mechanics are delicately balanced between survival and uncovering the story. Combat is a rhythm of blocks and dodges followed by stamina and weapon durability depletion. A mental scale tracks the protagonist's state of mind. A psychic attack can harm not the body, but the mind itself. The game skillfully balances difficulty. You can lower the combat difficulty to focus more on the story, or vice versa. Additionally, the world is divided into real and reverse spaces. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. This is a truly unique RPG that blends visual poetry, turn-based combat, and a story steeped in European decadence. The world is dying. Once a year, a mysterious painter erases everyone whose age matches the number she paints on an obelisk. The heroes of Expedition 33, they're next in line. Their only hope is to find the painter and stop her. The combat requires precision and reflexes, somewhat like Persona, while the art style is a surreal blend of marble, gold, and fog, a visual hallucination on an epic scale, especially for a debut project. The only thing I didn't enjoy was the dodge mechanic in battles. You'll know exactly what I mean once you play it. South of Midnight. This is a third-person action-adventure game that transports the player into the mystical world of the American South. The game stands out for its unique visual style, which resembles stop-motion animation, and a deep story based on regional folklore and myths. You'll explore a broken world, meet colorful characters, and fight monsters using both firearms and magical abilities. The game is full of puzzles and secrets you'll need to solve to save the world from the encroaching darkness. The gameplay combines dynamic combat, platforming elements, and puzzles that involve using magic. The main character has a unique ability to weave magical threads that help her not only in combat, but also in exploring the world around her. This mechanic promises to add variety to the gameplay, offering players a new perspective on the genre. The game looks very atmospheric, and its soundtrack, inspired by blues and folk, creates a special ambience. Cronos, The New Dawn. This is a new sci-fi horror game. The project takes us to a post-apocalyptic Poland where a mysterious catastrophe known as the Alteration occurred. The main character, the Wanderer, is an agent of a mysterious organization. His mission is to find people who didn't survive the catastrophe and use a special device to extract their essences from the past. This unusual plot twist allows the player to travel through time and see the world before and after the disaster. The gameplay is a mix of survival, action, and puzzles. Players will have to fight terrifying mutants who can merge to become stronger and more dangerous. To prevent a merge, players must quickly destroy enemy bodies. Various types of weapons are available for this. Enemies react to the player's tactics, forcing you to change your combat style and use the environment to your advantage. At the heart of the mechanics is an evolution system. Every decision leaves an imprint, changing your character's abilities and even their appearance. With each day, you get closer to solving the mystery of the new world, but also move further from your familiar human form, forcing a choice between saving the mission and preserving yourself. Mafia, The Old Country. This is an atmospheric prequel that tells the story of Enzo Favara, a miner who is pulled into the criminal underworld of early 20th century Sicily. The story is a rich, noir-dramatic thriller. After a tragedy, Enzo is saved by Don Torrisi and gradually climbs the criminal ladder, losing his humanity in the process. The game is linear, with the narrative unfolding across meticulously detailed locations, from grim mines to fragrant vineyards and dusty streets. Gameplay is classic third-person action. You can expect gunfights in tight alleys, covert infiltration missions, intense interrogations, and moral dilemmas. The focus is on atmospheric details, period cars, authentic weapons, and unique neighborhoods that feel alive. A reputation system determines how allies and enemies perceive you, opening up different paths for completing missions. Hell Is Us is a dark, ambitious action RPG helmed by the former art director of Deus Ex. The game takes place in a mysterious, war-torn country cut off from the outside world, a land ravaged by civil conflict and a strange supernatural catastrophe. You play as a former peacekeeper, returning to this haunted land in search of your long-lost parents. But this isn't your typical open world. There are no maps, no compasses, and no quest markers. Exploration is organic, relying on your instincts, observation skills, and conversations with NPCs. Combat focuses on brutal melee encounters using swords, spears, and axes, with a helpful drone companion that can distract enemies. It's a game that wants you to get lost in the best possible way. Herdling. This is a meditative adventure about journey and trust. At the core of the gameplay lies a simple idea. You guide a herd of strange creatures through linear levels, making sure no one gets left behind. The mechanics are minimal, but there's something mesmerizing about them. The slow, steady movement forward, the cozy cartoon-inspired style, and the atmosphere of unity. The game feels like a story told without words, about mutual help and walking the path together. Herdling is a modest project, but its simplicity is exactly what makes it memorable. It feels less like a challenge and more like an experience, leaving behind a warm aftertaste. A perfect choice to relax in the evening and sink into its atmosphere. Spirit of the North 2. The sequel to Spirit of the North carefully preserves the atmosphere of the original while expanding its scale and detail. Once again, you play as a fox, but this time other animals join the journey: crows, wolves, and raccoons. The world has grown much larger, stunning with its landscapes and a soundtrack that, as before, sets the tone for every moment. The story unfolds through wall paintings and scrolls, revealing the past and inspiring real empathy for its characters. Most of the game consists of calm exploration and puzzle solving, but sudden boss battles demand quick reflexes and can come as a real surprise. The vast open world, sparse checkpoints, and long treks back to where you died can feel challenging, but these moments are softened by finding portals and managing resources wisely. Stellar Blade. This offers a futuristic adventure where the player controls the warrior Eve, who fights mysterious creatures threatening humanity's survival. It's a mix of spectacular combat and cinematic storytelling. The gameplay is built on precise timing. Last-moment dodges allow for powerful counterattacks, and the variety of weapons and skills lets you experiment with your combat style. Beyond the fights, the game impresses with its world. Ruined cities, high-tech bases, and mysterious wastelands create an atmosphere that makes you want to explore every corner. The developers focused on fluid animations and a rich combat system, giving the project the feel of a premium action game. It also has RPG elements, skill progression, weapon upgrades, and choosing a combat style. Stellar Blade looks like one of those cases where action, style, and story combine into a single, vibrant spectacle. Tales of the Shire. This is a charming adventure game inspired by the world of Hobbiton from The Lord of the Rings. You take on the role of a hobbit building their life in the Shire, gardening, fishing, collecting rare items, and chatting with neighbors. Gameplay centers around home and garden improvement, culinary experiments, and community celebrations. Every day brings small goals: baking a family pie, hosting a tea party, or growing a unique plant. You're free to set your own pace, explore the surroundings, help neighbors, or just relax and enjoy the scenery. On the story side, the game offers little slices of hobbit life through short, heartwarming stories. The Legend of Khiimori, an adventure game with horseback riding and exploration set on the endless steppes of Mongolia. At the heart of the story is a journey with your horse, Khiimori, as you build trust and harmony together. Every step matters, from caring for your animal to overcoming natural obstacles as a team. Core mechanics include horse management, wilderness exploration, solving puzzles, and completing quests tied to local culture and legends. The game is about much more than racing. It's focused on bonding with your horse, finding hidden locations, and collecting special items. Over time, you unlock new riding techniques and more ways to customize your horse. Crimson Desert. Originally planned as a prequel to Black Desert, this game quickly outgrew its roots to become a full-fledged AAA open-world action RPG aiming to set a new standard for the genre. The protagonist, a mercenary leader who's lost his comrades, must rebuild his team to survive. The world of Crimson Desert feels truly alive. Snowy peaks, lush valleys, and bustling cities are all connected into a seamless world powered by the advanced Black Space Engine. Expect realistic physics, weather changes, destructible environments, and detailed materials like water and cloth. But the real highlight is the combat system, powerful, fast-paced, and cinematic, with wrestling-inspired grapples and brutal finishers. Enemies can lose their weapons, fight bare-handed in desperation, and massive beasts can be climbed and fought atop. This is a standalone project within the Ghost of Tsushima universe, focused on a new setting Mount in Japan, 329 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. Here, you will hunt the legendary Shiroku using a diverse arsenal, from the katana and odachi to a musket and grappling hook, all set against a backdrop of realistic nature and weather effects. The world is open for exploration and offers a flexible quest structure. You choose the order in which you hunt your main target, allowing you to set your own pace. You can craft camps, practice sumie drawing, play the shamisen, and even accept omuroku between missions. Visually, the game stands out with stylized modes inspired by cinematic masters. In 2026, all game owners will get access to a cooperative multiplayer mode as a free continuation of the base campaign. Eternal Strands, a game from a studio founded by the former director of the Dragon Age trilogy. If you love open-world adventures with epic battles and interactive environments, then Eternal Strands is the game for you. It's an action RPG with fantasy elements, where you play as a young warrior who can control the elements. The gameplay combines intense battles against massive creatures, exploration of diverse biomes, and the use of elemental magic to overcome obstacles. The developers took inspiration from hits like Shadow of the Colossus and Zelda, which is evident in the movement freedom and the scale of the enemies. Sniper Elite Resistance, the latest installment in the Sniper Elite series. In Resistance, we return to the battlefields of World War II, this time in occupied France. The new protagonist fights alongside the Resistance to prevent the Nazis from developing a superweapon that could change the course of the war. The developers have crafted a compelling narrative, sandbox-style locations with multiple objectives, full co-op campaign support, authentic weapons with customization options, and, of course, the signature X-ray kill cam, which showcases bullet trajectories in gruesome detail. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. The Yakuza series has always been known for its wild mix of crime drama, humor, and unique gameplay mechanics. In Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, the developers take players to an exotic new setting, the sunny beaches of Hawaii. But this isn't a vacation, it's another thrilling underworld adventure. The main character gets caught in a conflict between local gangs and old acquaintances from the Yakuza world. Expect signature like a dragon combat, over-the-top scenarios, and unexpected plot twists. The game features a massive open world, tons of side activities, from surfing to underground fights, and plenty of that signature Japanese humor. AI Limit. Fans of Nioh and Code Vein will definitely want to check out AI Limit, a Chinese action RPG in the Soulslike genre. The game offers a dark cyberpunk setting where the world has been devastated by a catastrophic event, and the remaining humans and androids struggle to survive. You play as a female warrior with an artificial body, granting her unique abilities in combat. The gameplay blends fast-paced battles that require precise movement and resource management, along with exploration of semi-ruined megacities filled with mysteries and deadly enemies. The boss and enemy designs are impressive, while the atmosphere feels like a mix between Nier and Dark Souls. The first Berserker, Khazan. This action RPG transports players to a dark fantasy world, where the legendary warrior Khazan embarks on a quest to regain his lost power and restore his honor. Inspired by classic hack-and-slash RPGs, the game incorporates modern mechanics reminiscent of Dark Souls and Dragon's Dogma. Expect to traverse a vast world filled with gloomy castles, enchanted forests, and ancient ruins, all inhabited by powerful monsters and demons. The gameplay features challenging combat that demands precise timing, along with a deep character progression system. Players can tailor Khazan's fighting style, choosing between heavy berserker strikes or faster, more agile attacks. Assassin's Creed Shadows. The latest entry in the legendary series takes us to feudal Japan, where players will control two protagonists, the stealthy ninja Nioh and the powerful samurai Yasuke. As always, Ubisoft delivers dynamic stealth mechanics, a deep combat system, and a vast open world, featuring both bustling Edo-era cities and treacherous natural landscapes. The combat system combines traditional Japanese martial arts, parkour, and stealth mechanics, allowing players to choose between silent assassinations or direct confrontations. The game's visuals are stunning, with seasonal changes, dynamic weather, and historically accurate locations, bringing ancient Japan to life. Arc Raiders, a large, cinematic extraction shooter made by former Battlefield developers. It takes place on a ruined Earth invaded by mechanical armies. Players are raiders who venture into dangerous zones for resources, tech, and contracts, constantly balancing between loot, other survivors, and deadly robots. Each raid is a mix of exploration, hunting, and intense clashes with other players. If you die, you lose everything you brought, so every item becomes a gamble. Massive maps, vertical environments, advanced enemy AI, and impressive visuals on Unreal Engine 5 create the feeling of a huge living war where you're just a small part of the chaos. Code Vein 2, a return to a world where eternity has become a curse. The story takes place after a catastrophe that brought a blood-red moon into the sky, turning immortals into monstrous, bloodthirsty creatures. Humanity teeters on the brink of extinction, and one immortal hunter sets out to do the impossible, travel back in time to change the course of history. He's joined by a mysterious girl who wields chronoturgic magic, the power to distort time itself. The sequel stays true to the original, a Souls-like experience focused on fast, technical combat and deep companion mechanics. Each ally now has unique abilities, combat styles, and storylines. Their bonds with the protagonist shape the narrative, and combining their skills unlocks powerful new synergies in battle. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. After years of silence, Onimusha is finally returning. Way of the Sword takes us to Edo period Kyoto, a city where corruption festers beneath the surface and demons emerge from the shadows. The protagonist is a samurai gifted with a mysterious artifact that allows him to absorb the souls of fallen enemies, heal himself, and unleash devastating powers against demonic hordes. The game preserves the spirit of classic Onimusha titles, linear level progression, intense sword combat, and a blend of action and mystical horror. Developers promise a brand new hero, numerous historical figures woven into the story, and around 20 hours of gameplay, the longest campaign in the series to date. Phantom Blade Zero. The developers describe it as a mix between a Souls-like and an action RPG, but in reality, it feels like something entirely unique. The protagonist wields over 50 types of weapons, which can be chained into devastating combos. The combat system revolves around timing, reaction, and precision, where every strike, parry, and step matters. The setting is a dark reimagining of Asia, a fusion of ancient myths, mysticism, and martial arts aesthetics. The world is vast and layered. Your first playthrough will only reveal about 30% of the full content. Its tone and atmosphere are reminiscent of Black Myth, Wukong, steeped in cinematic style and rich Eastern lore. Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma. One of the most successful Rune Factory spin-offs and possibly the best entry in the series in recent years. The game blends JRPG foundations with farming sim and life sim elements, but shifts the focus toward village development, action combat, and a story about restoring a ruined world. Combat feels faster and more dynamic, with dodges, elemental interactions, and party support, and upgrading both gear and companions truly matters. Settlement building feels like gradually bringing life back into the world rather than a purely decorative feature. The story is surprisingly expansive, designed for dozens of hours, and the endgame opens much later than you might expect. The characters feel alive, relationships develop more deeply than in most genre competitors, and the gameplay easily pulls you into the classic "just one more day" loop. Echoes of the End, a cinematic fantasy adventure inspired by Iceland, created with love for icy landscapes and ancient magic. The game feels like a return to the early 2000s era. Straightforward levels, platforming, puzzles, bosses, everything we used to love, but with modern graphics. the story is surprisingly solid. The world's lore is written from scratch, the characters aren't cardboard, and the dialogues and cutscenes reveal them gradually. There's even a complete character arc for the protagonist, along with a couple of twists that are extremely rare for a project of this scale. Gameplay revolves around two things: combat and puzzles. Puzzles take up most of the time. Some players like that, some don't, but their difficulty ramps up and new mechanics are introduced gradually, almost like in Tomb Raider. .007 First Light. The revival of James Bond on gaming platforms is an event fans have been waiting for years. IO Interactive, the studio that gave the world Hitman, has taken on the bold task of creating an original story about the legendary agent. First Light isn't just another action game. It's the beginning of a new trilogy and a full-fledged origin story that will show the making of a young, daring Bond who hasn't yet earned his license to kill. Players will see how this MI6 rookie, unburdened by experience, embarks on a mission that will determine his future fate. The gameplay, much like in Hitman, will encourage a creative approach to completing missions. Players can decide whether to act stealthily, using espionage and gadgets, or go in guns blazing, relying on their combat skills. This variability promises to make each mission unique and unpredictable. The story revolves around a conspiracy that the young Bond gets caught up in. He'll have to team up with his mentor to expose a traitor at the heart of British intelligence. The developers promise the game will be steeped in the atmosphere of classic spy thrillers, but will also offer modern gameplay. Pragmata. This is one of the most mysterious projects of recent years, and its announcement from Capcom sparked intense interest. Initially planned as a PlayStation 5 title, it has been delayed several times, but it is finally getting ready for release in 2026. Pragmata appears to be Capcom's first major original IP in years. The story revolves around an astronaut named Hugh, who, after a lunar cataclysm, meets a mysterious android girl named Diana. Together, they must explore a ruined lunar base that is swarming with hostile robots. Based on the trailers, the game will combine elements of a third-person shooter and puzzles, where Diana's hacking abilities will play a key role. Capcom, known for its stunning visuals and work with the RE engine, promises that Pragmata will offer a unique blend of action and a surreal, almost fairy tale-like atmosphere. Hugh and Diana will work in tandem. Hugh fights enemies while Diana hacks their defenses. LEGO Batman: Legacy of the Dark Knight. This game completely redefines what an open-world LEGO game can be. Like other games in the LEGO franchise, it combines open-world exploration, puzzle solving, and action-packed combat. Players can control not only Batman, but also dozens of other familiar characters from the DC universe, each with unique abilities. The story is filled with funny dialogue and comical situations, poking fun at the seriousness of the DC characters and making them more accessible and appealing to all ages. Whether you're fighting the Joker and his henchmen or unlocking hidden areas using your allies' powers, Legacy of the Dark Knight always offers something new and fun. The Blood of Dawnwalker, a new dark RPG from the game director of The Witcher 3. The story takes us to an alternate version of the Middle Ages. The main character is a miner stricken by a mysterious disease that transforms him into a creature known as a Dawnwalker. By day, he's human; by night, a half-vampire caught between light and darkness. He has only 30 days and nights to save his family and take revenge on his creator. The key feature of the game is its time limit. Every quest costs precious hours, and there's no way to get them back. You'll need to prioritize, deciding who to save and who to abandon. The developers promise full freedom of choice. Any character can be killed, and the story will adapt accordingly. The setting is inspired by Eastern European folklore, filled with kobolds, undead, and vampires, each with their own culture and lore. Mudang Two Hearts. This isn't just another action shooter. It's a deeply developed, cinematic third-person action-adventure that blends elements of stealth and dynamic combat. The game's events unfold in the near future, in a politically tense Korea, where two completely different characters become embroiled in a massive conspiracy. The gameplay offers complete freedom of choice. You can act stealthily, using shadows and cover, or engage in open combat, using a variety of weapons and tactical gadgets. The levels are designed to support different approaches to gameplay, with multiple paths and opportunities for improvisation. The enemy AI adapts to your actions, actively searching for you if you're hiding or coordinating to surround you in a fight. Where Winds Meet. This is a massive open-world RPG developed by a Chinese studio that immerses us in medieval Japan and China. The game draws inspiration from Chinese mythology, which makes it unique compared to other projects. The main character is a mysterious lone swordsman who is forced to fight for his life in a brutal world full of intrigue and betrayal. The game world promises to be truly alive and enormous, with diverse landscapes, ancient cities, and mysterious ruins. The combat system combines fast attacks, parries, and, most importantly, magical techniques based on the elements. Players can study various schools of martial arts to create their own unique fighting style. It seems that the battles will be not only spectacular but also deep, requiring the player to think tactically and react quickly. In addition to fighting, players can explore the world, solve puzzles, and interact with a multitude of NPCs, each with their own story. Exoborn. This is a new tactical shooter with survival elements that takes us to a post-apocalyptic America torn apart by extreme natural forces. The game world is constantly changing under the influence of deadly tornadoes, sandstorms, and other natural disasters, making each session unique and unpredictable. Players will take on the role of former corporate employees who have risen up against it. The main feature of the game is powerful exoskeletons that give players unique abilities and allow them to survive in harsh conditions. Exoborn combines intense firefights with other players and battles against hostile AI-controlled factions, as well as against nature itself. Players must find valuable loot and evacuate from the map before they are consumed by a storm. The developers promise that the game will have different classes, each designed for a specific playstyle. No More Light. This is a story-driven survival shooter where the last remaining humans fight an invasion of alien insects in a post-apocalyptic world. You are the last survivor with the unique ability to control these creatures. This mechanic allows you to influence enemies, solve puzzles, and use them against the invaders. But this power comes at a price. A gradual merge with the alien biomass and the loss of your humanity grant access to eerie but powerful abilities. The game combines a compelling story with a test of identity, where survival is only the beginning. You'll scan the ruins of civilization, gather resources, uncover secrets, and decide how far you're willing to go to win a chance for the future. As you progress in power, you'll balance between preserving yourself and becoming something else, and every choice changes your path. Beast of Reincarnation is a bold move by the Japanese studio Game Freak into a darker, action-focused RPG platformer. The story takes place in the distant future, where living organisms are infected by a parasitic plant-like disease that turns both flora and fauna into deadly threats. The main character, Emma, is connected to this power. She can manipulate plant life and use it in combat, transforming standard encounters into a fluid dance of abilities, positioning, and movement. Combat here clearly stands apart from traditional slashers. A key feature of the game is its emotional duo. Traveling alongside Emma is her former enemy, a wolf-like companion whose nature and fate constantly challenge conventional ideas of good and evil. This is more than a simple companion mechanic. Their relationship is a core part of both the story and gameplay, as their interactions influence available abilities, enemy behavior, and tactical choices in combat. Styx, Blades of Greed brings back the iconic Goblin Assassin in a classic third-person stealth action format. Staying true to the series' roots, the new entry once again emphasizes stealth-focused gameplay, where players rely on cunning, traps, and remaining unseen to complete missions while avoiding direct confrontation. Styx continues to balance clever level navigation, agile movement, and constantly shifting situations, turning each stage into a complex puzzle of shadows, cover, and narrow pathways. The series has always stood out for its tactical depth. Success isn't about simply eliminating enemies, but about choosing the smartest approach with minimal risk and maximum stealth. The new levels are expected to offer even more intricate layouts, and the return of this darkly humorous, deceptive protagonist promises the precise timing and careful planning that stealth fans have long appreciated. Greedfall, the Dying World launch, is a continuation of the cult RPG adventure, serving as a prequel to the original Greedfall. The game transports players to a rich fantasy world torn apart by war, colonial expansion, and devastating epidemics. From a mechanical standpoint, one of the key additions is deeper character customization and direct control over companions in combat, rather than relying solely on AI as in the past. The Dying World introduces hybrid combat systems that blend real-time action with the option to pause and issue tactical commands to the team. Beyond combat, the game places a strong emphasis on diplomacy and relationship building. NPC allies have their own motivations and personal stories, and player choices, both in dialogue and actions, directly influence the narrative and the ultimate outcome of the journey. All the games on this list reflect the current direction of the industry in their own way. I hope you were able to find a few titles that truly fit what you're looking for, because that's exactly why I create this kind of content. The Image Game Channel was with you. Have a nice day.